Hi there. Welcome to the live stream, which I'm a little bit late starting, so I need to get spamming. As usual, if you're tuning in and it's no longer a live video, look in the description and you will see a timestamp for when the quiz proper begins, and you can avoid all this waffle at the beginning. Otherwise, we'll be starting in about 10 minutes. I am going to paste the link on the Facebook pages. Hello, people who have tuned in. Hello, Pierrot. Okay, where is my page? Here's my page. Where's my mouse so scrolly? Live quiz. Okay, here we go. Okay, where else am I? Got to link the thing here. Now, nobody replied to my post today. I'm wondering if that's because maybe the permissions don't let people respond to my post. Anyway. Hello. We'll be starting at about 7:35 as usual. So it's about 6 minutes from now. Right. Hello, 4 people who have tuned in. Keyboard lighting on. Yeah, I can see my keyboard. Hello, Caroline. Right, good, sorted. What else do I need to do? I need to open up my questions. That would be good. And what else do I need to do? Okay, done. We'll be starting in about 5 minutes, so feel free to grab a drink or a snack or whatever in the meantime. I had Zambrero on the way home from work. Very delicious. I don't want to do that. Okay, what's here? Am I connected? Yes. Oh, right. That's all done. So quite a few people respond to the Facebook event today. Well, this week, I should say. Hello, Carmen, and presumably John. Yeah, I posted, as promised, I posted the Facebook event directly after the quiz last week. So that was good. In the meantime, there's been quite a good response, so maybe quite busy tonight. We'll see. Hello, Nikki. Hello, Kim. Hello, Meg and Paul. I'm assuming you can all hear me okay. My microphone has its blue light on as usual. So I did. Hello, Simone. Yeah, I posted, like I say, I posted the event on Facebook, and I got quite a few responses. And also today, someone contacted me asking how it worked with all the time zones, etc., because I kind of forgotten about daylight saving last week. So yeah, 7:30 p.m. Sydney time, of course. And we observe daylight savings in New South Wales. So if you're in, I guess Queensland doesn't do daylight savings. Obviously, if you're in South Australia or other states, then you're going to be in a different time zone regardless. So you need to work that out. But yeah, I think in Queensland it's probably 6:30 p.m. if I understand it correctly. But it would be getting a bit late if I started at 8:30 p.m. my time. So anyway. Hello, Norel, and presumably Stephen. So we'll be starting in about 3 minutes time, about 35 past. Oh yeah, the other thing I did, I posted on the page today because someone contacted me about time zones. That's what I was going to say. So I posted a little reminder post this afternoon just to say, hey, there is going to be a quiz tonight. And I put a question in that quiz, in that post. Get it together, James. Which nobody responded to. And I don't know if that's because of the permissions of the post or because people didn't realize that it was a question I was asking in a non-rhetorical manner, or just because general Facebook apathy. I don't know. But anyway, the question was, which bird has the Latin name Puffinus puffinus? Now, I may have asked that already. It kind of sounds like a round 3 question to me. It's one of my favorite trivia questions. Carmen has fallen into my trap, which is, of course, I mean, it's not going to be the puffin. If the answer to the question, which bird has the Latin name Puffinus puffinus, was the puffin, it wouldn't be a very good question. The answer is, of course, the Manx shearwater, which is interesting. But yeah, if you Google Puffinus puffinus or the Manx shearwater, you'll see why what the reason behind the name and what the word puffin actually means. Yeah, it's Manx shearwater, as in the Isle of Man, and a shearwater is a type of bird, I guess. But anyway, it's something to do with dried carcass of a seabird being called a puffin, and then later on, the birds that we call puffins also got called puffins. Anyway, supplemental reading later on. Anyway, it's one of my favorite trivia questions because it's such an obvious trap. Anyway, speaking of questions, I've got them all loaded up here. Make them nice and big. Nobody's confused on the Facebook page, I think, so that's good. Carmen didn't want to fall into my Facebook trap. Fair enough. Okay, I can see a few regulars are online. Nobody's posting on the page saying, I can't find the thing. So that's good. Hello, Gail, if you're there. I see you've liked the Facebook page, Facebook post. I assume you're tuning in. What am I drinking tonight? I'm drinking Little Creatures XPA. I like Little Creatures. I haven't had their XPA before. I'm assuming it's a very hoppy, like a super IPA, basically. That it is. Very pleasantly hoppy. Like drinking lawn clippings. Delicious. Right. Good. What time is it now? 7:35. Oh, it's must be time to start the quiz. So if you haven't played before, this is how it's going to work. We're going to have 3 rounds. It's just standard pub trivia, but we can't be at the pub because of COVID. So we're going to have standard 3 rounds. The first round is 20 questions that are relatively easy. Hello, ads. You did just make it. I don't do super easy trivia, but the first round is relatively easy. And then I give you the answers to that. And then we start round 2, which is another 20 questions of less easy, more difficult questions. Hello, elated Matt, if I didn't say it earlier. And I give you the answers to those. And then we have our round 3, which is our difficult / silly / trick question round. If you get any points in that round, you're doing pretty well. It's only 10 questions. But yeah, if we get to question 4 and you've got no idea, don't worry. You're probably not alone there. And then we have a couple of who am I questions at the end to round it all off. So, yep, it's not the kind of trivia where you need to be the fastest in the quiz, in the comments or anything like that. You're just keeping track of your own answers yourself. And I'll tell you the answers at the end of every round, and you can mark yourself. And if you want to, you can share your score in the comments on YouTube. Hello, Joan. Carmen says, do I prefer it to their pale ale? After 1 sip, 2 sips, I think I do. I like the Little Creatures pale. It's quite sweet and flowery, but it's a bit thin for me, whereas this has got a bit more body to it. It's a bit more chunky. Okay. Anyway, let's get cracking with round 1. Question 1. Which Australian city is named after the consort of King William IV? Question 1, round 1. Which Australian city is named after the consort of King William IV? Is that a round 1 question? I guess so. Question 2. Which traditional individual sport sees Japanese champions competing for the Emperor's Cup? I don't think they're always Japanese champions, unless they mean champions of Japan. Anyway, round 1, question 2. Which traditional individual sport sees champions competing for the Emperor's Cup? It's only question 2. Got to keep it fairly easy. All right, question 3. What is the primary difference between monotremes and other mammals? Round 1, question 3. What is the primary difference between monotremes and other mammals? Hopefully nobody's been confused by the time zones this week. If you live in Queensland, I think it's 6:30 start instead of 7:30 as it is in New South Wales. Question 4. Where in your body would you find cones and rods? Question 4. Where in your body would you find cones and rods? I think we're easing into round 1. Easing into the quiz. Question 5. According to the Book of Revelations, what kind of horse does death ride? Question 5. According to the Book of Revelations, in the Bible, obviously, what kind of horse does death ride? If I had my finger on the pulse of pop culture better, I could make a My Little Pony joke there. Flutterby. There you go. That's the extent of my Little Pony knowledge. Question 6. Which exclusive boarding school did both Prince Harry and Prince William attend, as well as the first Duke of Wellington, George Orwell, and 20 British Prime Ministers? So question 6. Which exclusive boarding school did both Prince Harry and Prince William attend, as well as the first Duke of Wellington, George Orwell, and 20 British Prime Ministers? Just a reminder, if you do want to comment on the YouTube thingy, video channel thing, you might need to make a default channel under your profile. I think there's some rule about you can only comment if you have a channel, which I guess somewhat discourages spam bots. If you haven't got a channel, just go into your settings and make a default channel, and then you'll be able to comment. Question 7. The Manhattan Project created the world's first what? Question 7. The Manhattan Project created the world's first what? Question 8. Which planet of our solar system has a feature called the Great Red Spot? Question 8. Which planet of our solar system has a feature called the Great Red Spot? If you're tuning in late and you've missed any of the first few questions, that's fine. When we get to the end of the round, I generally ask if anybody needs any repeated, and I can do it then. I'm just noticing a couple more people tuning in on the count on YouTube. Question 9. In motor racing, what color flag is shown to an individual competitor to indicate that they must immediately stop racing and return to the pits? Question 8 or question 9, says Simone. Well, question 8 was, which planet of our solar system has a feature called the Great Red Spot? And question 9 is, in motor racing, what color flag is shown to an individual competitor to indicate that they must immediately stop racing and return to the pits? So that's not the flag to say the race has been ended early and everybody needs to stop. That's a different flag. This is a flag that's shown to an individual competitor to indicate that just they must immediately stop racing and return to the pits. So they've done something bad, or their car or bike has an obvious issue that they might not be aware of. Question 10, what food is thrown in the Spanish town of Bunol, B-O-N-O-L, on the last Wednesday of August? Simone's got her numbering all wrong, but I think she's figured it out. We're up to question 10. What food is thrown in the Spanish town of Bunol on the last Wednesday of August? Excuse me, I think they throw quite a lot of it. Question 11. Which artist progressed through a blue period, a rose period, and an African-influenced period? And for a bonus point, I will have that artist's full name, please. So for question 11, just the surname will do, or the first name and the surname. But for a bonus point, I'd like the full name, and I'll be very impressed if anybody gets the correct full name. So question 11, which artist progressed through a blue period, a rose period, and an African-influenced period? So for the point, you need to give me just the surname is fine, or the first name and the surname if you like. But for a bonus point, if you can tell me their full name. Okay, question 12. Deuterium monoxide is more commonly known as what water? So it's a particular type of water. Deuterium monoxide is more commonly known as what water? Is that our mandatory chemistry question for the night? I think so. We've already had our mandatory astronomy question. And quite an absence of geography questions, I have to say. Anyway, we'll see how we go. Question 13. Which iconic Australian racetrack has sections called Conrod Straight, Mountain Straight, The Dipper, and Brock Skyline? Question 13. Which iconic Australian racetrack has sections called Conrod Straight, Mountain Straight, The Dipper, and Brock Skyline? It's gone all quiet in the comments. As usual, people are thinking hard. Let me know if I'm going too fast. I don't know why Google just woke up on my phone. Go Google. So Google just gave me an image search for the phrase, people are thinking hard. Thank you, Google. That's not what I wanted. Question 14. Kelsey Grammer starred for 11 years in which spin-off from the TV show Cheers? Question 14. Kelsey Grammer starred for 11 years in which spin-off from the TV show Cheers? Question 15. Which US president married his distant cousin, Eleanor? Question 15. Which US president married his distant cousin, Eleanor? And there is a bonus point there. For a bonus point, tell me Eleanor's maiden name. So question 15 is, which US president married his distant cousin Eleanor? And for a bonus point, what was Eleanor's maiden name? Bonus points are generally things I just pull out of my head when I read the question. So hopefully I have got this correct. I think that I have. Anyway, we'll figure it out as we go. Question 16. Which 1999 romantic comedy was the first British film to earn over $100 million US? Question 16. Which 1999 romantic comedy was the first British film to earn over $100 million US? Name good. So let you think about 16. Which 1999 romantic comedy was the first British film to earn over $100 million US? Question 17. What is the largest member of the dolphin family? Question 17. What is the largest member of the dolphin family? Question 18. Atlanta, Georgia is home to the headquarters of which major beverage company? Question 18. Atlanta, Georgia is home to the headquarters of which major beverage company? Excuse me, hoppy beer burps. Question 19. Which state of Mexico shares its name with a small dog? Which state of Mexico shares its name with a small dog? And question 20. What was Nicole Kidman paid $1 million per minute to wear in a 2003 commercial that viewers couldn't even see that she had on? Question 20. What was Nicole Kidman paid $1 million per minute to wear in a 2003 commercial that viewers couldn't even see that she had on? You need to be specific to get the full point. Alrighty, that's question 20. That's the end of round one. Let you think about those for a minute. If you missed any of them, or if the sound went weird, or your numberings got confused, or whatever, and you need any repeated, just let me know, and I'll happily do that. I'll just do a little bit of Facebook maintenance in the meantime, bit of housekeeping, making sure that everybody has found the link correctly and that kind of stuff. Why is Facebook not loading properly? There it is. Got new messages, but they all seem okay. Gail has commented on the post. Question 15, Gail would like repeated. Sure. Question 15 was, which US president married his distant cousin Eleanor? And for a bonus point, what was Eleanor's maiden name? So that was question 15. All right, I'll give you another 18 and a half seconds until I start giving you the answers. Just clickety on sorting out Facebook stuff. Okay, good, done. All right, as I kick my microphone stand, let's go through the answers to round one. If everybody's happy. Just check the Facebook page. Everybody seems to be happy. Gail says, is it a puffin? Nope, it's a Manx shearwater. That was the trivia question. I should answer that on the Facebook page later. But anyway, in the meantime, here's the answers to round one. So, which Australian city is named after the consort of King William IV? That is Adelaide, because that consort became Queen Adelaide. Question 2, which traditional individual sport sees Japanese champions competing for the Emperor's Cup? Well, the answer to that is sumo wrestling. I think not all the champions are Japanese, but maybe it means champions of Japan. Certainly there's been a few Hawaiian champions recently. Anyway, question 3, what's the primary difference between monotremes and other mammals? Well, monotremes are egg-laying mammals, which makes them quite different to all the other mammals, pretty much. So, laying eggs is the answer to question 3. Question 4, where in the body would you find cones and rods? That's pretty easy. It's in your eyes. It's in your retina specifically, but if you said eyes, that's fine. They are the cells that actually pick up light. Cones work well in bright light and pick up colors well, whereas rods work better in low light, but don't pick up colors quite as well. Question 5, according to the book of Revelations, what kind of horse does Death ride? Death rides a pale horse. P-A-L-E, a pale horse. Question 6, I can't think of that line, Death rides a pale horse, without thinking of Johnny Cash for some reason. Anyway, question 6, which exclusive boarding school, etc., 20 British Prime Ministers, that is, of course, Eton, E-T-O-N, Eton. Question 7, the Manhattan Project created the world's first what? It was the world's first atomic bomb or nuclear bomb. It's also fine. It's the world's first atomic bomb. Question 8, which planet of our solar system has a feature called the Great Red Spot? That is Jupiter. It's an atmospheric storm. It's about 3 times the size of the Earth, as in it's about 3 Earths wide. And it has known to have existed for at least 300 years because it's been observed for that long by humans using telescopes. So the answer is Jupiter. Question 9, in motor racing, what color flag is shown to an individual competitor to indicate they must immediately stop racing and return to the pits? That is a black flag. If you get black flagged, you individually have to stop racing for whatever reason, usually gross sporting misconduct or some kind of obvious mechanical problem. When the whole race is stopped, that's a red flag. So if there's a bad crash and they need to get the ambulance on the circuit or anything like that, they do a red flag, but the answer to an individual competitor is a black flag. So question 9 is black flag. Not just a punk band starring Henry Rollins. Question 10, what food is thrown in the Spanish town of Bunol on the last Wednesday of August? That is tomatoes. Every year, upwards of 40,000 people gather in the town to throw over 115,000 kilograms of tomatoes at each other in the yearly Tomatina Festival. It is a popular sight, and tourists from across Europe flock to the town to join in the fun. Sounds kind of wasteful to me, but anyway, I guess it's all good fun. So the answer to question 10 is tomatoes. Question 11, which artist progressed through a blue period, a rose period, and an African-influenced period? The answer is Picasso. So if you said Picasso or Pablo Picasso, you can have 1 point. And for the bonus point, you had to give his full name. So you can have a bonus point if you wrote down Pablo Diego Jose Francisco de Paula Juan Nepomuceno Maria de los Meridios Cipriano de la Santísima Trinidad Ruiz y Picasso. If you wrote all that down, you can have a point. Well done, you. Question 12. Deuterium monoxide is more commonly known as what water? It's called heavy water. It's used in nuclear reactors. Yes, imagine filling out your passport form with a name like that. It would take a while, wouldn't it? Yes. What are we up to? Deuterium monoxide. Yeah, it's heavy water. Deuterium is an isotope of hydrogen, if I'm remembering my words correctly. So it's basically water with deuterium. Yeah, heavy water is the answer. Question 13. Which iconic Australian racetrack, etc.? That is Mount Panorama. If you said Bathurst, that's fine. I'm pretty sure it's the only significant racetrack in Bathurst. But it is officially called Mount Panorama. Question 14. Kelsey Grammer starred in which spin-off? That's, of course, Frasier. Question 15. Which US president married his distant cousin Eleanor? That is Franklin D. Roosevelt. Married his distant cousin Eleanor. So you get the point if you said FDR, Franklin D. Roosevelt. And for the bonus point, what was Eleanor's maiden name? It was Roosevelt. They were distant cousins, but as it happens, she had the same name. So when she got married, she didn't need to change her surname, which is handy. Not that she necessarily needed to, but it is the tradition, particularly back then, I imagine. But anyway, didn't matter in her case because her married name was the same as her maiden name. Question 16. Which 1999 romantic comedy was the first British film to earn over $100 million US? That was Notting Hill, which I thought was a reasonable movie, I suppose. Obviously did pretty well. That reminds me, Mark Knopfler, now that Dire Straits is kind of not really a thing anymore, he plays in a sort of acoustic folky band called the Notting Hillbillies, which I thought was quite cute. Anyway, question 17. What's the largest member of the dolphin family? That would be your friend and mine, Orcanus orca, the orca, or the killer whale, or the blackfish. Most people call it a killer whale or an orca. If you haven't seen the film Blackfish, I recommend it. It's not the easiest of watches. It's to do with what happens to killer whales when you keep them in captivity, and basically how they go a bit mad and psychotic and kill people, fairly understandably so. Yeah, it's a very interesting movie that will certainly open your eyes, and I think has actually led to SeaWorld they say they're not going to do killer whale shows anymore, and they're not going to keep killer whales in captivity, which is probably good. Anyway, 18, Atlanta, Georgia, which is a slightly related question because I think the largest aquarium tank in the world is in Atlanta, Georgia. It's in Atlanta Aquarium. I think at one point they had 3 whale sharks in the tank. Imagine how big it is. Anyway, Atlanta, Georgia is home to the headquarters of which major beverage company? That is, of course, the Coca-Cola Company, who I think paid for the aquarium. Anyway, the answer to 18 is Coca-Cola. Question 19. Which state of Mexico shares its name with a small dog? That is Chihuahua. 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 And question 20. What was Nicole Kidman paid $1 million per minute to wear in a 2003 commercial, even though viewers couldn't even see that she had it on? It was, of course, perfume that she was wearing. If you said perfume, you can have half a point. But if you actually said Chanel No. 5, then you can have the full point. So perfume for half a point or Chanel No. 5 for the full point. The company estimates that a bottle of Chanel No. 5 is sold worldwide every 55 seconds. Seems a bit convenient. Chanel No. 5, 55 seconds. Meh. Is it true or is it marketing? Anyway, that's the end of round 1. Let me know how you went in the comments. How many bonus points do we have that round? 2? 12 for Ads, 6 for Pierrot, 14 for Caroline, 18 for Jill, very good, 13 for Nikki, 14 for Simone, 13 for Related Matt, 16 for Davey. G'day, Davey. Right. Oh, my phone's beeping. Don't know why Facebook's not telling me on my PC, but somebody's messaging me to say, oh, why is it being annoying? Peter got 17. That's what the message was. Carmen got 15. Kim got 14. Yeah, pretty good. Not a bad scoring first round. Pretty much everybody into the double digits except for Pierrot. Sorry to single you out. All right, let's get started with round 2. Yes, here we are, round 2. Follows on from round 1, as is traditional. Sorry, Pierrot. All right. Question two, round two, question one. I always do that. I don't know why. Round two, question one. In 1996, Australia became the first country in the world to issue a full set of what? Narelle 14.5, Stephen 13. Round two, question one. In 1996, Australia became the first country in the world to issue a full set of what? Question two, in terms of astronomy, what does SETI stand for? SETI, Sierra Echo Tango Indigo or India? What did we decide the other week? Anyway, question two, in terms of astronomy, what does SETI stand for? SETI, Sierra Echo Tango India, Simone says. Fair enough. SETI, what does it stand for in terms of astronomy? Question three, for 1 point each. Who were the two hosts of the movie show on the SBS between 1986 and 2004, and then At the Movies on the ABC for another 10 years? So question three, for 1 point each. Who were the two hosts of the movie show on the SBS between 1986 and 2004, and then those two hosts moved to another show on the ABC called At the Movies for another 10 years. Who were those two hosts for 1 point each? Let you think about that one for a sec. Question four, what currency is used in South Africa? Or I should say, what is the official currency of South Africa? So question four, what currency, or what is the official currency of South Africa, as in the country South Africa? Narelle says, bonus point for the new current host. If you like. I don't even know which of those shows is still going. Let me do some very quick research. Is the movie show still going? No. Apparently stopped in 2008. Maybe you mean At the Movies. Nope, still seems to not be going. So I don't think there is a current host, is there? Anyway, let's move on. Question five. According to Greek legend, what kind of creature was Medusa? Question five. According to Greek legend, what kind of creature was Medusa? No bonus point suggestions from players. It's all right, Carmen. Points are not redeemable for cash. As long as we're having fun, it's fine. And you're more than welcome to submit question ideas. You can contact me through the Facebook page. It's probably the easiest way. To suggest questions or even just areas for questions to be mined from. I'm always keen to discover new things. But yes, question five. According to Greek legend, what kind of creature was Medusa? And I don't mean a chick with snakes for hair. That's not a type of creature. I mean a type of creature as in a unicorn or a badger, you know. There is a name for that type of creature. Question six. Who starred in these three films? Trainspotting, The Full Monty, and 28 Weeks Later. Question six. Who starred... Excuse me, hoppy beer burps. Question six. Who starred in these three films? Trainspotting, The Full Monty, and 28 Weeks Later. Who was the star of those three films, or who was in common across those three films, I should say? You think about that one. Those ones can be a little tricky. If you do want to be informed of future events, go to the Facebook page, Virtual Aussie Pub Quiz. Unfortunately, I discovered on the weekend that YouTube doesn't let you rename channels, and I've put all these Virtual Aussie Pub Quiz videos under my default channel, which is just my name, because I didn't know about channels. Has anyone seen the sequel to Trainspotting? It's even more bleak and dark than the original. I have seen it, and I actually thought it was pretty good compared to the original. I thought it was going to be some terrible sellout thing, but actually I thought it was pretty good. I mean, yeah, it's horrifically depressing, as was the first one, but that doesn't necessarily mean it's bad artistically. Right, I've gotten confused. My windows have all gone strange. Question 6 was, who starred in these 3 films? Trainspotting, The Full Monty, and 28 Weeks Later. Question 7, which continent are budgerigars native to? Question 7, to which continent are budgerigars native? Confusing question. Budgerigars are native to which continent? Anyway, you'll work it out. You know what I mean. So question 7, to which continent are budgerigars native? Is that a split infinitive? I don't know. Pick a continent, the one that's full of budgies. Pet Shop Land. Question 8. Which Australian female surfer became the first person in history to win the world title as a rookie in 2007? And she is now a 7 times world champion. So question 8. Which Australian female surfer became the first person in history to win the world title as a rookie in 2007? And she is now a 7 times world champion. Phone keeps buzzing. Don't think it's anything important. Question 9. The Bikaneri, the Bishari, and the Bactrian are all varieties of what? The Bikaneri, 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 the Bishari, 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 and the Bactrian, 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 are all varieties of what? Simone says, no, it's not a split infinitive. An infinitive is to verb, and a split one has an adverb between to and verb. To slowly walk would be to split an infinitive then, slowly being the adverb between to and walk. Is that correct? To boldly go is a famous one. Okay, there you go. So question 9 was the Bikaneri, the Bishari, and the Bactrian are all varieties of what? Question 10, which was the world's first independent credit card? I'll make it a multiple choice. Was it A, Visa, B, MasterCard, or C, Diners Club? Question 10, which was the world's first independent credit card? Was it A, Visa, B, MasterCard, or C, Diners Club? Carmen would like question 5 repeated. Question 5 was, according to Greek legend, what kind of creature was Medusa? And I mean creature as in, well, the examples I gave, for whatever reason, were unicorn and badger. So just saying she's a chick and her hair's all snakes, that's not a kind of creature, that's just a description. So we want a type of creature. That was question 5. Question 10 was, which was the world's first independent credit card? Question 11, who used his Bowling for Columbine Oscar acceptance speech to attack George W. Bush? Question 11, who used his Bowling for Columbine Oscar acceptance speech to attack George W. Bush. Question 12. How many legs do scorpions have? Pretty simple question. Question 12. How many legs do scorpions have? Right, I have asked that question before. I thought I had. I asked it back in June. So if you remember the answer, well done you. So question, what are we up to? Question 12 was, how many legs do scorpions have? Question 13, who married her childhood sweetheart, Jason Alexander, not that one, in 2004, with the marriage lasting about 55 hours before it was annulled? Question 13, who married her childhood sweetheart, Jason Alexander, not that one, in 2004, with the marriage lasting about 55 hours before annulment? The reason I'm saying not that one is because Jason Alexander is, of course, the actor who played George Costanza in Seinfeld, and it's not that one. It's a different Jason Alexander. Question 14. What name is given to a form of classical music written for a small group of instruments and performers, traditionally in a private setting? Question 14. What name is given to a form of classical music written for a small group of instruments and performers, traditionally in a private setting? So as opposed to a massive orchestra in a honking great public hall, what name is given to the classical music written for a small group of instruments and performers, traditionally in a private setting? Question 15. In Braille, how many dot positions are used for a character? Question 15. In Braille, how many dot positions are used for a character? So obviously not every character uses all the dots, but what we want to know is how many dots are used in Braille for indicating which character they are representing. I think that makes sense. So question 15, in Braille, how many dot positions are used for characters? Question 16, which of these films was not based on a work by Stephen King? So it's obviously multiple choice. So which of these films was not based on a work by Stephen King? Was it A, The Running Man, B, The Lair of the White Worm, C, The Green Mile, or D, The Shawshank Redemption? So question 16, which of these films was not based on a work by Stephen King? Was it A, The Running Man, B, The Lair of the White Worm, C, The Green Mile, or D, The Shawshank Redemption? Let you think about that one for a minute. So those options again were A, The Running Man, B, The Lair of the White Worm, C, The Green Mile, or D, The Shawshank Redemption. Okay, question 17. What name, beginning with R for Romeo, is given to a grilled or toasted sandwich containing corned beef, Swiss cheese, sauerkraut, and Russian or Thousand Island dressing? The hint I have here is it's not revolting. It is a type of sandwich. It's actually a very delicious sandwich. So question 17, what name, beginning with R for Romeo, is given to a grilled or toasted sandwich containing corned beef, Swiss cheese, sauerkraut, and Russian or Thousand Island dressing? Simone was about to say revolting, but I was one step ahead of her. I actually quite like them. It's tricky to get good ones. They tend to be very soggy because of the sauerkraut, but when they're good, they're really good. It's a particular sandwich, you know, like you have club sandwiches and whatever. It's got a particular name. So that's corned beef, Swiss cheese, sauerkraut, and Russian or Thousand Island dressing. Question 18. The Battle of Shiloh, Shiloh, the Battle of Five Forks, and the Battle of Port Royal were all part of which war? Question 18. The Battle of Shiloh, the Battle of Five Forks, and the Battle of Port Royal were all part of which war? Jason Alexander played the role of Philip Stuckey in the film Pretty Woman. I don't remember that. And the title character in the animated series, Duckman. There you go. Anyway, I should probably pay attention. Question 18 was, those three battles were all part of which war? Question 19. The archipelago of Tierra del Fuego is jointly governed by the two southernmost countries in South America. Which are they? And for a bonus point, what does Tierra del Fuego translate to in English? So we're nearly at the end of round 2. Question 19, the archipelago of Tierra del Fuego, Tierra space Del space Fuego, Tierra del Fuego, is jointly governed by the two southernmost countries in South America. For 1 point each, what are those two countries? And for a bonus point, what does Tierra del Fuego translate to in English? Norel says, yes, he did. He was the guy that hit Julia's character across the face. I don't remember that either. Does that mean I have to watch Pretty Woman again? No, I don't think so. As much as I like to revisit old movies. Question 20. Vampire bats is multiple choice. Question 20. Vampire bats have a protein in their saliva to prevent their victims' blood from clotting. Is this protein called A, coagulin, B, hematoxylin, or C, draculin? Question 20. Vampire bats have a protein in their saliva to prevent their victims' blood from clotting. Is this protein called A, coagulin, B, hematoxylin, or C, draculin? That's the end of round 2. I'll give you a minute or two to think about those. If you need any repeated, let me know. I will check on the Facebook page and make sure nothing bad is happening. All good. No new messages. Everybody seems happy. Maybe I should watch Pretty Woman again. It is kind of a classic movie. Right. If nobody needs any questions repeated, we can get started with the answers, I suppose. Kim would like question 2 repeated, I assume, or she just likes to say the number 2. So the question 2 was, in terms of astronomy, what does SETI stand for? SETI, Sierra Echo Tango India. In terms of astronomy. No problemo. Okay, let's go through the answers to round 2. So question 1 was, in 1996, Australia became the first country to issue a full set of what? The answer is plastic banknotes or polymer banknotes. As long as you said something along those lines, that's fine. Question 2, in terms of astronomy, what does SETI stand for? That is the Search for Extraterrestrial Intelligence. SETI, Search for Extraterrestrial Intelligence. So obviously they're looking for intelligence that is off Earth. No luck so far. Question 3, for 1 point each, who were the 2 hosts of the movie show and then later the show At the Movies? So the 2 hosts were Margaret Pomeranz and David Stratton. Margaret Pomeranz and David Stratton for 1 point each. I guess if you had first names, you can have half a point, maybe. Work it out amongst yourselves. The current show is called Screen, says Narelle. Okay, there you go. No bonus point. Question 4, what currency is used in South Africa? With Graham Blundell, says Narelle. Cool. The currency used in South Africa is the Rand. R-A-N-D, the South African Rand. And out of interest, they have 100 cents to the Rand. Question 5, according to Greek legend, what kind of creature was Medusa? Well, she's a chick with snakes for hair, but the technical term for that is a gorgon. G-O-R-G-O-N. She's a gorgon. Stop touching your face. Along with her 2 sisters, Stheno and Uriel. S-T-H-E-N-O, Stheno, and E-U-R-Y-A-L-E. Uriel? You're terrible, Uriel. Anyway, question 6. Who starred in these 3 films? Trainspotting, The Full Monty, and 28 Weeks Later. That was Robert Carlyle. Robert Carlyle. Played Begbie in Trainspotting, I think. Whose hobby was getting in pub fights. Question 7. Which continent are budgerigars native to? Pretty easy, that one. It's Australia. There's flocks of many thousands of them flying around Central Australia. One theory of several about where the name budgerigar comes from is that it might be based on an Aboriginal word betcherigar, which means either good bird or good food. Maybe because you can eat the birds, but probably more likely because if you follow the large flocks of birds, they will lead you to discover fresh water and grains to eat, because that's what they're looking for. So, yeah, anyway, the answer to question 7 is Australia. Question 8, which Australian female surfer became the first person in history to win the world title as a rookie? That was Stephanie Gilmore, G-I-L-M-O-R-E, Stephanie Gilmore, and she's now a 7-times world champion. Question 9, the Bikaneri, the Bishari, and the Bactrian are all varieties of what? I think Bactrian's the giveaway there. They're all types of camel. A Bishari is a particular riding camel from North Africa and Arabia. A Bikaneri is a war camel from India. And Bactrians is a term given to any camel that has 2 humps. There you go. All types of camel. Question 10, which was the world's first independent credit card? We had Visa, MasterCard, or Diners Club. It was Diners Club. It was founded in 1949. MasterCard was founded in 1966, and Visa was 1970. So Diners Club was first. Question 11, who used his Bowling for Columbine Oscar acceptance speech to attack George W. Bush? The question, I guess, is who produced and directed, etc. Bowling for Columbine. It was, of course, Michael Moore. M-O-O-R-E, Michael Moore. Question 12, how many legs do scorpions have? If you can remember that from 3 months ago, they have 8 legs. It's 4 pairs of legs, plus they have claws as well. But they have 8 legs because they are arachnids, not insects. Question 13, who married her childhood sweetheart, Jason Alexander, not that one, in 2004? With the marriage lasting about 55 hours before annulment. It was, of course, Britney Spears. during sort of a prolonged flame out that she had. Hope she's feeling better. Question 14. What name is given to a form of classical music written for a small group of instruments and performers? That is chamber music. Chamber music. Question 15. In Braille, how many dot positions are used for a character? That is 6 dots. Each character is represented by 2 vertical rows of 3 dot positions each, giving a maximum of 64 combinations. And we had Louis Braille as a Who Am I question not that long ago, so probably don't need to go into too much more detail about that. It says here, apparently it was based on a system developed for Napoleon, who wanted a code soldiers could use to communicate silently without using lights at night, which is sort of a different origin story from when we did Louis Braille as a Who Am I? But anyway, maybe those two stories merge at some point. Question 16, which of these films was not based on a work by Stephen King? We had The Running Man, The Lair of the White Worm, The Green Mile, and The Shawshank Redemption. The odd one out is The Lair of the White Worm, which is based on a Bram Stoker novel. The others are all based on Stephen King novels or short stories. Question 17. What name beginning with R is given to a grilled or toasted sandwich full of all that yummy stuff? It is a Reuben sandwich, R-E-U-B-E-N, a Reuben sandwich. It's a famous staple of New York delicatessens. That's kind of one of the ways you can tell if the deli's any good. You try their Reuben and that lets you know. Like I say, it's tricky to make it without it being all soggy and horrible. And when they're good, they're really good. Also, a bit of mustard on them is very nice. Anyway, question 18. The Battle of Shiloh, the Battle of Five Forks, and the Battle of Port Royal were all part of which war? It was the American Civil War. I think last week or the week before we had the first English Civil War. But anyway, it's the American Civil War this time. Question 19. The archipelago of Tierra del Fuego is jointly governed by the 2 southernmost countries in South America. What are they? They are Argentina and Chile. And they divide Tierra del Fuego between them. And for a bonus point, what does Tierra del Fuego translate to in English? It is Land of Fire. Tierra del Fuego, Land of Fire. Question 20. Vampire bats have a protein in their saliva to prevent their victim's blood from clotting. Is this protein called A, coagulin, B, hematoxylin, or C, draculin? This is one of my favorite trivia questions. It is, of course, draculin. I mean, of course, if you're someone who's discovering the way that vampire bats work and you figure out that they can make their victims bleed more effectively because of something in their saliva, of course you're going to call it draculin. So the answer to question 20 is draculin. All right, that's all the answers for round 2. Let me know how you went in the comments. Was that 1 point for each country? I believe it was for 1 point each. I didn't actually say in the question, but yeah, for 1 point each, what are the 2 countries for question 19? And for a bonus point, what does Tierra del Fuego translate to? So if you said Argentina and Chile, and you said Land of Fire, you get 3 points for that question. Pierre got 6 again. He's consistent. That's good. Caroline got 8. Lady Mac got 18. Smashed it out of the park in the second round. Ads got 10. Nikki got 11. Davy Jones got 17 or 18. He's undecided. Narelle was asking for clarification of the geography question on behalf of Stephen. Simone got 15.5 and Jill got 19. Pretty good. Oh, nearly knocked my mouse off the table. That wouldn't have been any good. Peter got 17.5 in that round. Also pretty consistent. Kim got 17. Carmen got 13. Not bad. Not bad at all. So I think that makes round 2 actually slightly higher scoring than round 1, possibly due to bonus points, I suppose. Narelle 16, Stephen 13. Just another second round collapse for Stephen. Jill Barrett says, I thought Draculin was a joke. Of course you did. That's what I wanted you to think. That's why I put that in there, and that's why it's one of my favorite trivia questions. It's a bit like the puffiness question. Yeah, I know. That probably should have been a round 3 question because it's kind of a trick question. Not really, but kind of. Do you like the other names I made up? Coagulin and hematoxylin. They sound so real, but I just made them up. Okay, round 3. He wants more geography. Well, only geography. I figured it couldn't be coagulant because it doesn't coagulate. Yes, you see, you're very accurately describing the extent of my trap. Okay, question. All right, round 3. So if you haven't played this before, round 3 is our trick / silly / cripplingly difficult round. If you get any points in this round, you're doing pretty well. Don't feel bad. This is where I put all the questions that kind of don't go anywhere else. Let's see how we go. After this, we'll have the answers, and then we'll have our Who Am I questions. So round 3, question 1. William Tyndale was the first person to translate the Bible into early modern English. How did Henry VIII respond to this? It's a multiple choice. It's round 3, multiple choice, easy. Did he A, have him knighted, B, have him burnt at the stake, or C, give him permission to marry one of the king's daughters? So question 1, William Tyndale, 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 was the first person to translate the Bible into early modern English. How did Henry VIII respond to this? Did he A, have him knighted, B, have him burnt at the stake, or C, give him permission to marry one of the king's daughters? Question 2, what is the most commonly grown variety of wine grape in Germany? Question 2, what is the most commonly grown variety of wine grape in Germany? Question 3. Al Jazeera is one of the largest Arabic language TV stations in the world. Which country is it broadcast from? And for a bonus point, what does the name Al Jazeera translate to in English? So question 3, Al Jazeera is one of the largest Arabic language TV stations in the world. Which country is it broadcast from? And for a bonus point, what does the name Al Jazeera translate to in English? Question 4. Which yacht or which boat, I don't know exactly how you describe them, but anyway, which yacht has taken line honours the most times in the Sydney to Hobart yacht race? So I think line honours is just basically the first one across the line without any handicaps or categories or classifications or anything. So which yacht has taken line honours the most times in the Sydney to Hobart yacht race? So it's a particular name of a boat. A bit like racehorses, they've all got names. So do the boats. Question 5. What is the more common German title for Mozart's Serenade No. 13 for strings in G major? Question 5. What is the more common German title for Mozart's Serenade No. 13 for strings in G major? Question 5. I'm a child. Question 6. What kind of specialist is likely to be most helpful if you are having trouble with your ball cock? I'm easily amused. Question 6. What kind of specialist is likely to be most helpful if you are having trouble with your ball cock? Question 7. Which word did not appear in Charles Darwin's book On the Origin of Species until the 6th edition? Question 7. Which word did not appear in Charles Darwin's book On the Origin of Species until the 6th edition? Question 8. Ozzy Osbourne crashed his quad bike and was seriously injured in 2003. What did Prince Charles send as a gift to him while he was in hospital? Question 8. Ozzy Osbourne crashed his quad bike and was seriously injured in 2003. What did Prince Charles send to him while he was in hospital? Question 9. Which two-word phrase forms part of the name of a 1951 play by Tennessee Williams and also an Australian hard rock group formed in 1976? Question 9. Which two-word phrase forms part of the name of a 1951 play by Tennessee Williams and also an Australian hard rock group formed in 1976? You know, that Tennessee Williams play, Akadaka. And question 10. During the year 1066, England was ruled by 3 separate kings in succession, as in 3 kings, one after the other, all during the same year, 1066. For 1 point each, name all 3 of those kings. Come on, it's round 3. It's the last question of round 3. Question 10. During the year 1066, England was ruled by 3 separate kings in succession. For 1 point each, name all 3 of those kings. And that is the end of round 3. If you're staring blankly at your screen, don't worry, that feeling is normal for round 3. If you've got lots of answers written down, well done. I'll give you a few more seconds to think about the answers to those. I've nearly finished my Little Creatures XPA, which I think is quite pleasant. Very nice, in fact. It's very capably survived being slowly killed by me and becoming room temperature during the process, which beers have to do when I drink them because I'm a very slow beer drinker. Especially when I'm hosting trivia. All right, so let's go through the answers to round 3, unless anybody needs any of those repeated. Doesn't look like anybody does. Seems to be all quiet on the Facebook front. So assuming everybody's happy with that. 6 new notifications. What's going on? Ooh. Galen Lance got 15 for round 2. And I'm guessing 18 points for round 1. Nice one, Gail. I don't seem to get your updates quite as obviously as would be good. Kim would like question 9 repeated. Question 9 was, which two-word phrase forms part of the name of a 1951 play by Tennessee Williams and also an Australian hard rock group formed in 1976? All right, let's go to the answers for round 3. Question 1 was, William Tyndale was the first person to translate the Bible into early modern English. How did Henry VIII respond to this? Did he A, have him knighted, B, have him burnt at the stake, or C, give him permission to marry one of the king's daughters? He had him burnt at the stake. It's kind of his go-to move, I think. Anyway, so the answer to question 1 is B, had him burnt at the stake. I think the whole, Bible is the word of God, and you're not meant to translated, I guess. Who knows? Anyway, question 2. What's the most commonly grown variety of wine grape in Germany? That really sounds like it should be a trick question. Aha, they don't grow wine in Germany. It's called... No, it's not a trick question. The answer is Riesling. Originally from the Rhine region of Germany, the most common variety of wine grape in Germany is Riesling. Question 3. Al Jazeera is one of the largest Arabic language TV stations in the world. Which country is it broadcast from? It's broadcast from Qatar. Qatar, Qatar. And for a bonus point, what does the name Al Jazeera literally translate to in English? It literally translates to the island. In this case, it's referring to the Arabian Peninsula contextually, but the literal translation is the island. Question 4. Which yacht has taken line honours the most times in the Sydney to Hobart yacht race? That is Wild Oats 11. I think if you had Wild Oats, you can have half a point, but it's got to be Wild Oats 11. It has won 9 times. And there was a couple other times when it was the quickest, but it got disqualified or got a penalty or whatever. So, but anyway, the official record is 9 victories, which is more than any other boat. And I think it's the same skipper every time, so well done. Question 5. What is the more common German title for Mozart's Serenade No. 13 for strings in G major? That is Eine kleine Nachtmusik. I guess I could have asked you what the literal translation into English is, but it's basically a little night music. But Eine kleine Nachtmusik was the answer. Question 6. What kind of specialist is likely to be most helpful if you're having trouble with your ballcock? It is, of course, a plumber. A ballcock is part of the flushing mechanism of a toilet. The ballcock was invented by Thomas Crapper. It's a common mistake that he invented the toilet, but he did not invent the flush toilet, but he did much to improve and market it. And one of his inventions was the ballcock flushing mechanism. Anyway, the answer is a plumber. Question 7. Which word did not appear in Charles Darwin's book on the origin of species until the 6th edition? That word is evolution. He does say evolve and evolved occasionally, but he didn't actually use the word evolution until the 6th edition. There you go. Question 8. Ozzy Osbourne crashed his quad bike and was seriously injured in 2003, but nearly fatally injured, actually. What did Prince Charles send to him? Well, when I originally wrote this question, I had what did Prince Charles send to the reformed alcoholic while he was in hospital, but I figured that was a bit of a giveaway. He's famously a reformed alcoholic who stays well clear of any alcohol. So Prince Charles, of course, sent him a bottle of whiskey. So the answer to question 8 is a bottle of whiskey. Question 9. Which 2-word phrase forms part of the name of a 1951 play? Simone wrote a toy bat that he could bite the head off, presumably. Which 2-word phrase forms part of the name of a 1951 play by Tennessee Williams and also an Australian hard rock group formed in 1976? That is Rose Tattoo. I think the play is simply called The Rose Tattoo. And of course, Rose Tattoo with Angry Anderson, I think, was the lead singer. Question 10. During the year 1066, England was ruled by 3 kings in succession. For 1 point each, name all 3. I would hope that most of you got William the Conqueror, because that was famously when he became the conqueror, conquered England. But the story of 1066 is Edward the Confessor was the king, and he died. So Edward Confessor is the first one. Harold Godwinson, also known as Harold II, took the throne, but William the Conqueror felt that he had been promised the throne, so he came and took it over by force. So the answer to question 10, the 3 kings are Edward the Confessor, Harold Godwinson, also known as Harold II, and William the Conqueror. If you had all 3 of those, you can have 3 points. Yes, it would have been funnier if it was a toy bat. I realized halfway through that question that it kind of gets derailed by either being really obvious if you say reformed alcoholic or not making any sense at all if you don't say reformed alcoholic. But anyway, that's the joy of live trivia. So that's the end of round 3. It's the end of our regular questions for the night. Let me know how you went. And soon we will have our Who Am I questions, which you can use as a tiebreaker. I'll explain more about that in a minute. Caroline got 5, pretty good for round 2. Nikki got 2. Lady Mac got 6, amazing. Pierre got 2. Parrot's always so excited when he gives the answer. Davey got 6, Kim got 5, Simone got 6. Not too difficult then. Obviously, I should have put the Draculan question in round 3. 5.5 from Jill. Don't know where the half point came from, but okay. Oh, maybe Wild Oats. Okay, so now we're going to have our Who Am I questions. Which you can use as a tiebreaker. If you're in a tiebreaker situation, you can use these. If you're not, just play along, have fun. So the way that this works, Stephen said a new bike. Carmen got 2 for a total of 30. So yeah, so the way this works is I'm going to read out clues about a person, place, year, thing, whatever. As I go along, if you think you know the answer, have a crack at it. Feel free to type it into the comments in YouTube. If you're in YouTube, this is the one question you're allowed to do that. If you get it right, you win the tiebreaker. If you get it wrong, you lose the tiebreaker. The other person wins. So you need to be quick, but you really need to be correct. If you're not in a tiebreaker, that's fine. Just play along, have a go. And just because I'm going to be confusing, I like to have 2 of these at the end. So I'm going to say the first one is the official tiebreaker, and then the second one we'll just have for a bit of fun. So here we go. So this is the tiebreaker. Who am I? Narelle got 32.5. Stephen got 30. Simone got 36. Jill got 42.5. Narelle 2. Stephen 4. Stephen nearly pulled it out of the bag in the final round. Anyway, let's get on with the Who Am I? Who am I? I am a year. In this year, former Warsaw Pact members Hungary, Poland, and the Czech Republic join NATO. The Mars Polar Lander is launched by NASA. King Hussein of Jordan dies, and his son Abdullah II inherits the throne. The Columbine High School massacre occurs in Littleton, Colorado. East Timor votes for independence from Indonesia in a referendum. Manchester United beats Bayern Munich in the UEFA Champions League final. The films The Matrix, Fight Club, The Sixth Sense, and Toy Story 2 are released. President Clinton is acquitted of perjury and obstruction of justice. Australians defeat a referendum proposing the replacement of the Queen and Governor-General with a president, which would make Australia a republic. What year am I? I'm out of clues. Have a guess. I am 1999. Very good, Simone. Close, Caroline. I am 1999. Lots of good movies came out in 1999. Matrix, Fight Club. I think Ronin came out in 99 as well. Anyway, so there you go. That's our Who Am I. Now we're going to have another Who Am I, which is just for fun. See how you go with this one. Who am I? I was born in the Netherlands in 1876. No, it's not Eddie Van Halen. Rest in peace. Who am I? I was born in the Netherlands in 1876 and died in France in 1917. My father was a successful businessman and investor, so my early childhood was lavish and included exclusive schools until the age of 13. However, my father went bankrupt in 1889. My parents divorced soon after, and my mother died in 1891. I studied to be a teacher, but was removed when the headmaster began flirting conspicuously with me. I fled to The Hague, and at the age of 18 answered an advertisement in a Dutch newspaper from an army captain looking for a wife to come live with him in the Dutch East Indies. We were married in 1895, but the marriage was a disappointment, with my much older husband being an abusive alcoholic. I began studying the local customs as a way of escaping my circumstances, and soon discovered a love of Indonesian dance. I moved to Paris, where I worked as a circus horse rider and an artist's model. I posed as a Javan princess of priestly Hindu birth and enjoyed great fame as an exotic dancer and courtesan. During the First World War, the Netherlands remained neutral, and thus I was able to pass national borders freely. I traveled often between France, Spain, the Netherlands, and Britain, and eventually my movements attracted attention. I was arrested and taken to London, where I apparently admitted to working for French intelligence, although this may have been simply something I said to appear more interesting. I was arrested again in 1917 in Paris and accused of spying for Germany and causing the deaths of at least 50,000 soldiers. Despite a lack of evidence, I was trialed and found guilty, being executed by firing squad at the age of 41. Born Margaretha Zelle, Z-E-L-L-E, I am better known by my stage name of Mata Hari. Mata Hari. It's a tragic story. Read her wiki page. She probably did nothing wrong, really. There's certainly no hard evidence that she was ever doing any treasonous spying or anything. She was probably just kind of living the life and big noting herself a bit. And it all kind of blew up in her face, no pun intended. Anyway, well done if you got Mata Hari. And regardless, I hope you had fun. That brings us to the end of the quiz for tonight. We'll do the same thing again next week, I imagine. Got a couple of messages on the Facebook page. Peter says, Mata Hari, yep. And 1999 earlier on. Well done. Glad you had fun. Tune into the Facebook page, Virtual Aussie Pub Quiz, if you would like to be informed about future events. But otherwise, same bat time, same bat channel. A bit before 7:30 p.m. on a Tuesday night, Sydney time, whatever that is in your non-daylight saving or other time zone area. See ya. Stay safe. Have fun. Catch you next week. Bye.